I follow this prophetess online, Shantia Deasia. I will link her information below. But one of the things that she said today that really stuck with me was that obedience is not just about yourself, it's about what God is trying to do in you and through you. So even though I don't like the way I look or sound on camera, I love God. And so I'm going to be obedient. So God gave me something many years ago, maybe like 3 years ago. I came across this word liberosis, and basically it means to like live your life outside of fear, to develop a desire to live life to the fullest and see all that life has to offer. And I remember thinking, I can't teach people how to live life to the fullest because I don't feel like I am, but I can teach people the steps that I took that made me, I guess, adapt the desire, and that's what liberosis is, the desire, not the end result. So one of the things that I noticed is that a lot of times when we're talking about healing within Black families, we talk about generational curses. It's not a curse, it's an epigenetic inheritance. Curses are like mystical and magical and can't be broken. Epigenetic inheritance in epigenetic inheritances can be overcome. They can be resolved in a single generation. So, for those of you not familiar with epigenetics, let me just give you a quick breakdown on it. Epigenetics is how trauma changes your gene expression, not your DNA itself, but the way it is expressed. So, to simplify that, um, let's say that your ancestors experienced starvation. So, and the way that your ancestors survived that starvation was by turning on the gene that stores fat. Then their direct offspring might also be born with that gene that stores fat on. It's not a new gene, it's a gene they would have had anyway, but instead of it being in the off position, it's flipped in the on position from birth. So, a lot of us are dealing with our grandparents, our parents, our great grandparents, our ancestors' trauma dating all the way back to enslavement. And in learning about epigenetics, it just like really helped me to understand that some of the things that I had to heal weren't just my stuff, they were my mother's things, my grandmother's things, my great grandmother's things that they didn't resolve. So I guess the main point today and the first step towards liberosis is realizing that epigenetics can be reversed in one generation, and that if you decide to be the last person in your family that has to deal with this garbage, if you decide that you are going to be the one to be the hard work, to do the hard work, that you are going to be the one to be the domino, and that you're willing to take the L so future generations of your family don't have to keep healing from your own trauma, you can do that. I have a niece. She's 12 years old. I love her. She's like a mini me. I love all my nieces, nephews, and nibblings, but this kid is like special to me, right? She's got a special place in my heart. She's pretty much exactly what a kid of mine would be like. She just happened to be born by my sister. But she's a different type of kid, right? She has a different type of needs. She has a different level of questions. She asks questions way beyond her years, always has since she was 5 years old. And, people don't know what to do with her. They don't get her, but I do. So I remember thinking when I realized that this epigenetic inheritance could be reversed, I remember thinking it was going to be a lot of work and it was going to be really hard and that I didn't want to do it. And so I asked God, like, do I have to do it? And God was like, no. And he was like, it could be Maya's grandchildren. So that's my niece. I'm not going to give you her full name, but her nickname is Maya. And he was like, it could be her grandchildren. And that really hit me because I was like, that's 3 more generations of unhealed trauma. No, I got to be the last. I got to be the domino. So this is my advice to you today. If you are feeling like your family repeats the same patterns over and over again, and that you want to be a generational curse breaker, get ready. Get close to God. It's going to be a wild ride. It's not going to be easy. You have to pull apart your own trauma and your own triggers and examine where they came from. You have to look at your ancestors in a way you might not have looked at them before, which I actually think builds more compassion, and like you start to understand them more as human beings dealing with the same struggles you do. But all I'm going to say is pray to God and ask God if you can be the last, if you can be the domino, and ask God what it's going to take. God might not tell you because God is like that. Everybody's answer is not going to be the same as my answer, but if you are in a position to do that, God is doing things with generations right now. God is not trying to do something with Asia. God is trying to do something in the house of Asia. Okay? Much in the way that God did something in the house of Abraham. Yeah, Abraham got his miracles and everything, but a multitude of people were blessed through Abraham because he was willing to stand in the gap for generations. So that is the first thing I think that was like a major key for me to liberosis, was understanding that if I healed this, no one would have to deal with it ever again. And being willing to stand in that gap for generations. So if you're in a similar position to me, um, check out Shantia DeAsia, Google epigenetics, and of course, pray. Okay, that's it. Bye.